Hello, welcome to Tallgrass Film Festival 2020. Thank you for being here today. We want to thank all of our sponsors for making Tallgrass happen, and anyone who's watching, thanks for the support. Hope you enjoyed the film, and we're going to get started with the Q&A. So also I should probably introduce who we're with. So I have Nia Fairweather, if you want to give a wave and say hello.
Hello.
And we have Atoje Abbott. He is the director, writer, and also actor in the film.
That's me. Howdy.
And I have Cooper Coach. How are you doing?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
A wonderful actor in the film. And then we have Ian Phillips. He is producer and editor. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
Thanks for being here with us today. What an incredible film you've made. I saw that this is your first feature film, is that correct?
Correct.
How did this particular film come to be? What was the inspiration for it?
Yeah, so it's a very personal film for myself because it being the first feature and also it being a film that was inspired by my first short film, Jitters, that we made, Ian and I, back in 2017. And basically, the film was made, people responded to a film about a man who's about to get married, and he has his kind of doubts about marriage, and he marries someone. It's a twist ending, I don't want to give it away, but people liked the film, they responded to it very, very well, and then we had our producer, Corey Apton, who saw the film, and with her company, Conglomerate Media, said, if you could do the same thing, but have a Christmas theme, have it be in New York City, have a representation by the LGBTQ community with the leads, this may be something we may want to fund. And from there, I went to writing. I talked to Ian about it, and Ian, as you know, my right-hand man with Beaufort Productions, he said, it's good to do another feature. It may be kind of difficult, but you get an opportunity to jump at it. So I wrote the film in about 3 to 4 months. When I had the lead ideas, I called people I knew rather than going through casting notices, and that was Nia Fairweather to start. And when she came on board, I knew it could definitely happen. And then from there, so I springboarded by getting actors. And we only auditioned a few amount of people, and we had the opportunity when Cooper came in, is that the role of the angel is something that everyone liked. I hope people liked it when they saw it in the film, but on paper, it just was something that was so whimsical and something so interesting and something so. It's hard to find someone like that. And when Cooper came into the room and he was able to kind of just speak about the film, how it mattered to him personally, I knew we had a match. So it just kept on snowballing and become something very, very personal, something very, very important to tell as my first debut feature.
That's fantastic. Great to hear. I definitely did notice that Jitters was the very kind of the little bit of a similar storyline, and then I thought almost that it felt like there were two stories in one, because you're telling the story of this fight for gay marriage in the Catholic Church, and also of just knowing this isn't right, I want to go back to my first love. Which
thank you. And it's also because with Ian, we talked about, can Jitters even be a feature film? I mean, that would be great because we got a lot of press and notoriety with the short film, but the good thing about a short film and for Jitters is that it's about a contained amount of time in 15 minutes rather than trying to expand something to make something that it's not. Jitters is a strong short as a feature. It may not work, but to have the same type of themes and similarities, as you said, and make it into a feature film, but now with female leads still having that same type of not even doubts, but the idea of what it's like for them to get married, is exploring a whole new world. So I was happy that came about.
Wonderful, thank you. So as far as I know that you've mentioned for casting and such, you've talked to Nia, and then how did you go about getting the rest of the crew? What were the steps for doing that?
Well, the crew, everyone behind the camera is all Ian. Whenever, my first film that I've ever done is a short film, and this as a feature, I'm an actor, so I know actors. Ian knows crew. Ian knows people behind the scenes. He's a filmmaker himself, so I left that to him. But for the actors' points, Nia was first, and then after that, we were able to kind of cast people that we knew. I mean, it's when you're making a low-budget film, you want people that are going to act and be a part of it, that know that this is something that it's a passion project rather than a money grab. And we had everyone who was a part of it that was just there for the goodness of their heart. Even Chris Noth, who played the priest, he's someone who's a Hollywood TV star, Hollywood film star. He knows for a fact he could do anything else than be on an ultra low budget film set, but he responded to the script and the role that he had. And he really enjoyed that type of story, that type of opportunity. So we had Nia, we had Adriana, who played Gabby. We also had Tyra Farrell, who played my mother. I'm a big fan of hers from Boys in the Hood and White Man Can't Jump. And she read the script and she was very excited to play a character that was affluent rather than a character that's a part of this middle or low class. Her whole career, she's had opportunity to play a lot of things in theater, but in film, she's seen as this one type of thing. So at this point of her career, she wanted to explore something different with the fact that I could play something that I don't normally get to play. And I think this film kind of has that type of opportunity for a lot of the actors, is that these are roles that you never really see in a Christmas type of theme. But now, because we're telling it from a point of view that's personal to me, it's something different for everyone.
All right. I did, especially with her, she definitely was kind of like a shining star at the dinner table, just really captured your attention and made you feel all the feelings that Jennifer was going through at the time too. So.
Yeah, I mean, Nia did that. It was so amazing when we filmed that because, Nia knows all the talented people as well. And then to have this type of battle with Tyra Farrell on the second day of filming, that must have been an experience.
So, Nia, would you like to say anything about getting to be in this film and what your experiences were?
Yeah, it's for me, it's because Atoja and I met. I don't even
2010. Yeah, 2010. We did
about 10 years ago at Labyrinth Theater Company in New York at a reading. And so, I mean, we knew each other as actors and everything else. So when he reached out, it was funny because I don't know if you remember, Toja, you were like, I don't know if you remember me. I'm like, bro, I know exactly who you are. What's going on? And he shared with me the script. And for me, the biggest thing is I just really liked Jennifer. I liked her story. I really felt all that she was going through in the different worlds that she experiences, the different emotions, and on top of what the film represents. So for me, I'm very particular with the work that I take on. I always look to see what is the story saying, what is it doing in the world, what do I get to explore, and creatively, where does it get to challenge me as an actor? Creatively, I'm not one that typically goes for roles that are just my type or easy, so to speak. I always look for the stuff that will cause me to stretch or at least allow me to explore something differently. And I felt with Jennifer, I definitely would have that opportunity. And once we had the conversation, Atoja and I had a lot of talks about her, and I definitely had my questions and my thoughts. And for me, it's always a collaboration and partnership, because even though I'm Jennifer, I also feel like her and this story is Atoja's baby. So I always say to him, like, thank you for entrusting me with Jennifer, because while I may not know all of what influenced her creation and the creation of the script, I hold it just as dear and with the utmost of importance. So every aspect, from the phone call, from the email, to being on board, to being on set, to today, for me, it still carries that same level of importance, because now that film is done and out in the world, I am truly grateful and proud of what we've created. And truly, it was a team effort and everyone around to really support Jennifer and Jennifer's story. But I'm even more so excited about all the Jennifers in the world that she represents, and everyone that gets to see it. So for me, I just have tremendous gratitude for being a part of it, and just really excited for the conversations that we get to have as a result of it now being out.
And lots of very good conversations will come off of this film, because there's a lot to kind of dig in and discuss. I'll go ahead and give Cooper a chance to kind of tell us about getting to play the role of the angel, and also what it was like to work on this cast.
Yeah, it's actually so funny because today I had to go into the city, and I biked all the way there and back. So I kind of like it's funny we're having a Q&A today because I kind of felt like Asriel again
Were you
today.
texting?
Huh?
Were you texting?
Yes, I was. I was texting. I was looking at where I was going, listening to music. I was totally Asriel today. Um, but no, I remember very clearly when I sat down and read the script for the first time. It was one of those ones where you kind of just sit down and you breeze through it because it's it's that good and you're enjoying yourself reading it. And I was laughing and I was crying, and I just remember connecting to it so much and finishing it and being like, this is so cute. I love this. And then, yeah, I mean, the first audition was really great. We talked a lot about our ideas, and, Toji was so welcoming and open, and I loved it. And then I was so thrilled to be called back. And then when it all happened, it was just, I was very, very excited to get to work on it. And yeah, and then getting started and biking around, and it was really, really fun. I had such a good time, and yeah, I love too just the meaning of it all, and it was an amazing experience. And now watching it too is really fun.
Thank you so much. How about Ian? How was your experience making the film, editing? Would you like to share or tell us anything specific about being part of the film?
Yeah, I mean, I just echo everybody's statements, and I'm just like over the moon with the fact that we even finished this thing, given the restrictions that we had. I think the actors look at it in terms of things that are challenging and stimulating to them emotionally, right? And they brought so much value to that part of the film. And then Atoje and I Atoje not only had to deal with directing the actors, but we also had to deal with the fact that, we had to shield certain things from the actors, such as we didn't have the money that we really needed to make this type of film, right? I mean, and we had to really, do it anyway. And it was extremely difficult to pull that off. And I'm just so grateful that we were able to do it. The fact that we're even sitting here with a finished film and it's screening festivals a year later is just amazing. When Atoje told me he was making this film, it was almost kind of an afterthought at that point because he had a finished script. I don't think that this is what we would have necessarily envisioned for our first film, right? Because it's not usually what a first filmmaker kind of storms out the gate with in terms of, a really kind of rugged indie personal story. This is a genre film, which is a Christmas film is not usually something you see for a first-time filmmaker. But he had the script because he had this opportunity to make this film with other people's, support. And that's not something you can say no to. So it was really just an exercise of how do we condense this really ambitious script into a tiny budget, and we in New York, and in a place that's extremely it's a very expensive place to make a film. So just going through all those kind of trials and tribulations over the 15 shooting days, and then the 3 or 4 months of editing on a, as money's running out, we started to see the film take shape in a really exciting way. And that's when we realized we have something really charming here, and it's something that I don't think people have seen before. So I really have nothing else to add other than I'm just really happy with the way it all came together. I'm so thankful for the performances. As an editor, that's what you have, right? That's all you have at the end of the day is performances to work with. And we didn't really have any weak spots. And for a first film to come out this polished, I think is really, really amazing. So yeah, kudos to everybody involved.
Excellent.
Can I just piggyback off of that for 1 second?
Absolutely.
It's really interesting because when Ian was just talking about like budgetary restrictions and stuff like that, and I would like to just say, one of the things, even when Atoje and I spoke, he was upfront about what the limitations were. But I will say his heart and what he really believed in the story and what he really envisioned was really clear. So if there are any filmmakers watching this Q&A, just know that, even with the actors and the talent that you may be interested in in being in your film, even if you don't have the full budgetary, whatever, your ideal, if we can see your heart and how true and what it means to you, your authenticity, I will say his authenticity and belief in this and desire to have it made and wanting to have me be part of it, and the story was great. The script was amazing. So it made the decision a very easy one, even though there might have been financial restraints. So kudos to him. And I just need to just raise him up a little bit in this moment, because that really matters as talent when you're coming on to know the heart from which it's being created. And then you still feel cradled, even if some of those other pieces aren't necessarily there.
Yes.
It's always very true that like a strong leader with a passion and a project that has a clear direction, you can get anyone to join in and help and push you up as long as you know what you're doing and you're ready to do it. Such a good thing to think about, especially as filmmakers, which also leads me to a question that I did want to ask, which is Tallgrass Film Festival. We have so many filmmakers who come to this because they're looking for guidance, they're looking for inspiration, they're looking for answers on how did they do their films. Do you guys want to, starting with the Toje, do you want to lean in on that and kind of maybe give any advice you got for them?
I would definitely say the best advice I could give you is to just go out and do it. You know, if someone asks you to do something, to Ian's point or echo, don't let your fear debilitate you, because if you made a film before, if you're here at festivals watching other films and being inspired, that's a reason. You know, you're someone who wants to keep on getting better, so go out and do the work. I mean, doing my first short film and then 2 years later, first feature film, that's, people don't really do that. But in the end, like Ian said, we had an opportunity, you have to say yes. And then you start dealing with what happens after. So more than anything, if someone gives you an opportunity, because it doesn't happen a lot in this business, you have to say yes. I mean, you have to respect yourself as well. You don't just do anything, but you have to say yes, knowing the fact that if you want to keep on growing, you're not going to grow by playing video games. You're not going to grow by just doing other things other than going into the arena and doing the work. So definitely keep on working, and also keep people close by you. You know, with Nia, we knew each other 10 years ago. I loved her as an actress. I never thought I could work with her because we don't cross paths in that way. But when something came across that I could direct and I could write and I could put people in it because I know her from acting with her, it's a no-brainer. So definitely people to your left and to your right who you're watching films with, you're going to festivals with, enjoying their time. That's your people that they say you have to kind of network across rather than up. So know that the people around you are people that you might get a call 10 years later. You might be in a position to call them 10 years later. So just always keep on working, always keep people by you that you know are really talented people, because you see the talent. People that you're awed of in commercials, or the fact they've been in a film or a reading. There's no roles too small. There's no opportunity that's too grand. So just go at it.
I love that. Be tenacious, build community, keep pushing forward. Don't get lazy and complacent. Keep moving. That's definitely life.
And right. Also right.
Cooper, do you have anything as far as on that? Any advice for actors or filmmakers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super fresh, honestly. Like this movie was like my second out of 3 jobs that I've legit job that I've ever really done. So, I mean, I studied acting in New York, and I would just maybe say yeah, you got to just do the work. You do the work and you say yes. And then once you've done all of the work and you're there and you've said yes, then you just kind of have to let everything go and you just be in the moment and you just, you let it happen. I mean, I think that's the, best thing I can say. It's just be in the moment and have fun. I'm all about having fun too. On set, we had so much fun with this movie. That's really the most important thing at the end of the day. If you're not loving what you're doing, then you shouldn't be doing it. You got to love it. You got to have fun. You got to be in the moment.
Ian, do you got anything to add on this?
Yeah, I would say call me and a Toje, because we'll say yes to anything at this
Yeah, definitely.
We're super desperate. That's the one takeaway from this call, is that we'll say yes to anything. No, I would say just like, nobody is going to give you a green light to do anything. You should always approach filmmaking like nobody will give you anything in terms of financial support or a perfect opportunity, right? Nothing is ever we took some flack for making this film, to be honest. There were some people around us, and Atoje knows who I'm talking about, who thought that this film was too sentimental. It wasn't edgy enough for him. And people want, him to be this kind of like raw indie filmmaker with his first film, and you're always going to be disappointing some people around you. But it's funny because it's always those people who aren't really doing anything themselves, right, that are telling you not to do things. It's like that Chris Rock joke that he made at the Oscars. It's like always unemployed people that tell you not to take a job. So it's like you have to I think your first film, I think you should do whatever it takes to make your first feature, because that will, as a filmmaker, that will show people that even if it's imperfect, you know how to handle feature length territory. Or you can get stuck in this, what I think of as like the hamster wheel of short filmmaking. I don't think there's anything wrong with making short films, but I think that if you want to elevate yourself to the next level, you have to show people that you can make a feature. And that would be my advice: is don't wait forever to make your first feature film. It will never come under perfect circumstances. Do whatever you have to take, even if it means going into debt or taking financial risks like we did. Do it anyway, because that will propel you to the next level. And that's paid off. That's paid off for us. So I think it'll pay off for other people.
Yeah, I love that. I agree.
I think I will add for the actors. I think we need to mention that when Atoje and I met 10 years ago, it was a table read. It wasn't that he saw me on stage in full rehearsal, like performing. Like, it was a table read. And I brought everything I had to the table read. So to any of the actors that may be watching this, still bring your full self, whether it's a table read, whether you're cast in a full production, whether it's a film, no matter what the role is, because you don't know who's in the audience and what your performance may do or inspire in someone else. And I was at a table read, full throttle. That's how Atoje and I met. And then 10 years later, I was the person he had in mind for this role when the script was ready. So I do think it's important to just, any opportunity that you have, to give your full self to it. I will say also, when it comes to being on set and everything else, that as the actor, especially even the lead, it is your job, or at least I felt this way, my job, to know the story inside and out. And I think that comes with our role. But on film, for those who may be in a theater, we go sequentially. You go from the beginning of the play to the end of the play. In film, we shoot out of sequence. So it's, to know your script so well that if you're shooting the end of the scene on the first day and it's out of sequence, that you can jump in and be fully into it. And with that also requires to create a ritual for yourself that allows you to stay as centered as possible in your work, because on set, different things happen. And we're all human beings, and in life things happen, even when you're about to film and shoot. So to find ways to, like, rituals or practices for yourself that keeps you grounded, so that no matter what is going on, you can keep the character and the role in the story that you're telling at the forefront. And that is to be found throughout time, but just really to start to build that, I think, is a key thing that most people don't tell us as actors. That's usually a secret people keep, but whatever. Just create that for yourself, so that you can always be at your best no matter what.
That is such wonderful advice and very useful. And I appreciate you sharing that with us today. Let's go ahead. I want to get back a little bit to the film and kind of the meaning behind it. Definitely, it's such a heartfelt film, and there's so much love, and there's such a deep message in it. But just in case somebody wasn't fully there with it, what is the message that you would hope and dream that people leave with in their hearts after watching this film?
Yeah, I think what Cooper, as Azrael, what he says is love deeply, trust your heart, and be brave. It's when you're making life decisions, it's sometimes people second guess themselves. And I think for me, especially at that point in my life, why it's so personal to me, I really was at a point where you know, you believe in yourself, but then then you need other people to tell you, no, you are good, or you are this, you are that. But in the end, it comes down to yourself type of love for that personal reason. And then also, it's for me, the film was just a message of love. You know, like with Jitters, people were amazed to see a normalized same-sex marriage in a church. And I thought, this is a crazy thing to know that like Nia's character and like Jennifer and Gabrielle, they were baptized in the church. They were confirmed there. They were communed there. They worked there. And they've been there for 20 years. And because they love each other, people who know each other from the congregation, they are not allowed to get married. So I was just kind of trying to find that type of, it interests me that way. Cause I'm a Catholic man, and I just wanted to really explore those type of themes. And also the themes of why are we not seeing a same-sex marriage or a same-sex type of relationship in Christmas movies? You know, I'm from New York City, so that's what we see in New York City. It's normalized. There are a lot of people who thought with Jitters is that, oh, people see that all the time in New York City or LA. And I'm really excited that we got into Tallgrass, because in Kansas, what are they thinking? I would love to be at a Q&A. I mean, I'd love to be at a post-screening right now and ask people in the audience, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? But we can't. But I was just really excited when we got into Tallgrass, because it's not New York City or LA. This is literally an audience that I want this film to translate to and see how they respond to it, what they get from it. So my message basically is love is love, love deeply, trust the heart, be brave, and always be patient, and be very aware what you say to someone can really affect the rest of your life.
That last sentence that was so true.
Yeah.
Words matter so much. They're one of the most powerful things that we have, and to use them wisely, because they do cause a ripple effect in your life.
Yes.
Well, so beautiful. What a wonderful film. It was really a pleasure getting to talk and hear more about the film from the inside. There's this Tallgrass Film Festival. Our catchphrase is stubbornly independent. That's our thing. So last question I just like to kind of ask is, what does stubbornly independent mean to you? And you guys can just kind of, whoever feels ready to answer, hop on in.
Authentically you.
Mm.
I think Ian's kind of said it like a million times. Everything he said is exactly what we're saying. Stubbornly independent. So,
just to reiterate, I think it's, you know, uncompromising vision, and doing, kind of like to quote Malcolm X, right? By any means necessary, right? Making a film by any means necessary. And that's what stubbornly independent is for me. I grew up watching the films that I loved weren't multi-million-dollar films. They were films that were made in New York City for a couple $100,000. So this is what we've done. And if we can do it, anybody around the country can do it. You know, grab your friends together, make your film, and don't wait. Don't wait for anybody to give you anything. Just do it.
Stubbornly independent for me, I would say unwavering determination, and just being relentless, as Ian said, you know, really focused on your goal and your vision. I also feel like that also means creating responsibly, and I mean with integrity, with heart, with an awareness of what you're putting out into the world, what it represents, how it may affect others, or at least be mindful of what kind of change or what residue you would like to leave, because everything that we put out has an impact, whether we're aware of it or not. We don't know who may watch it. So at least to be conscious about why we're creating it and what we're putting out, and having that be infused into every aspect of it. To me, that's stubbornly independent, because that's being true to oneself and true to one's core. And as human beings, we respond typically positively to those intentions.
Yeah, and to me, stubbornly independent is basically, it's almost similar to our production company, Willful Productions. You know, gotta be willful. Stubbornly independent, be willful, be ambitious by any means necessary, but be willful. And that's what, you know, this is what our first feature, it's a willful production. So stubbornly independent.
Such good answers. Anytime anyone answers those, I start crying a little bit just because they're so heartfelt and so just they really hit me in my good spots. So last,
Can I ask you one question?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, a lot of people out there, I think they definitely love, I would hope so, you know, our priest, Chris Noth, the
Oh,
wonderful man. Was it different to see him in a role like that?
yeah. It wasn't. It took me a while to identify it. Like I knew instantly, like, ooh, I've seen him before, and it took me a while to identify him. And then once I put it together, I was like, oh man, that's. It was such a fitting role for him. I felt like he was very empowered, and he had just like you could just sense that he had such a good heart and was really in that moment searching for what was right and what what direction he should be going, and I really liked him as that character. It was really fitting for me.
Yeah, I asked that because a lot of the times he people see him playing something they refer to him Mr. Big or Law and Order Mike Florrick, but you know he's someone as a known person. As we know each other for a while, is like he's someone that aside from being like a tremendous actor, he's someone that is truly caring. And to be a part of this film, like any other person like Mia or Cooper, he truly cared about myself to grow and cared about the story. And he responded in a way where people are always surprised at why I seen this film is that because he believed in the story and he knew that he'll be supported by good actors. So it's really good that you kind of had that experience as well to see him being in an authentic, conflicted way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just and the way because your cast was so incredible. Everyone really fit their role so well, and in that sense that you don't stand out so aggressively because you fit in that role so well. And that's what I liked about everyone was you didn't question like, why are they here? It all
Yeah, that happens a lot, you know. And go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I think that, you know, that's part of Tojay's stubborn independence, because there was a point in the casting where we were like, how are you going to pull this off? You have to cast women in their 30s and you have to cast their teenage counterparts. It's going to have to be the same person. There's no way you're going to be able to find, you know, their teenage doppelganger, right? And we don't have a casting agent, right? And he stubbornly, independently said, no, I'm not listening to any of you people. I am going to find their teenage counterpart. And he did that. He pulled it off. So again, stubborn independence, and it works. You know, he has a vision and he pulled it off. And I don't think anybody will question. That's one of the most authentic things about the film to me, is that you really believe that young Jennifer and young Gabby are their adult selves and their teenage selves respectively. So again, stubborn independence. So.
And the angel too. The angel was definitely not. It wasn't hard to cast. Cooper was so but it was hard to find someone to kind of really get that type of not the bones, but the energy of the angel. That not to make it something that it's not. You know, there's no. And I love the line in the film when Jennifer asks Azrael, do you have a love around Christmas? And he's like, it's complicated, you know, and it's not, and then, you know, it's Azrael's way of saying something like that, but there's so many backstories we have in Azrael, but in the end, Cooper brought himself and what he believes to the role, and people, as soon as he gets on the screen, people love the representation that Cooper brings to it, and the idea that we don't see this type of angel ever. Everyone wants their own Azrael for Christmas, so that's something that new that we kind of found.
Yeah, sure. For sure. And it's not just angels either, right? I think he represents this human person as rather than a biblical person. He's a best friend, right? He's a best
friend.
You know, kindred spirit, right? It's not an angel in the literal sense. So, and that's one of the best things that we've heard about the film is we don't really know if he's an angel or not, or if but you know, that's what makes, I think, the ambiguity, I think, really it's very strong. Cooper was so relatable in that role as an angel that you think of him as your next door neighbor. I mean, it was just a great performance and a great character the way it was written.
You guys, stop.
Very true for speaking on Cooper, because he reminded me of so many of my friends that people you just instantly meet and you're kindred with and you want to hang out with and ask questions and goof around with too. So a lot of lightheartedness as well as that serious side that you bring out. Very good.
Yeah, there was also some person that said, this angel character, why is he so angry at the end, or not the end, at the wedding? Go away, go away, go away. Just having fun. It's like, no, he has business to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we're kind of running out of time, so we'll go ahead and close it up. If you could please go ahead and tell our viewers how they can find you, if you have any Instagram tags and stuff, and then go ahead and, if you want, mention what your next project is or the next thing coming out for you.
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, all that crazy nonsense with my name spelled that way. You can just type it in and you can find me. Also, our production company, since Ian's gonna make sure we have a lot of emails with a lot of scripts now, we're Willful Productions, WILLFUL. And ironically, I directed my first music video this past weekend. Literally, we did it this past weekend, and right now Ian's editing the music video. One of our actors who plays, actually Mia, Veronica, Queen V, who played the vet in the opening scene, early scenes of the film. She's a great artist. She was doing a music song, and she said, would you want to direct it? And like everything else that we're talking about, I'm like, I never directed a music video. And Ian's like, you got to do it. And then I said yes, and here we are. So we'll definitely release that pretty soon on our social handles.
Ditto on my end. Everything is, Willful Productions. We're just trying to expand our, keep making films, and we're not exactly sure what the next project will be, but we can't wait to make another film. Put it that way. I think you'll hear from us in the next year or two. So yeah.
Tia?
So I can be found at Nia Fairweather at everything. So at just my name. My website is my name, very easy, simple to find. In addition to acting, I'm also a writer and producer. So I wrote and produced a short film that is on the festival circuit right now. We are screening in a week. And it's been a really wonderful, as far as even talking about stubbornly independent, as an actor. So for me, I started writing as a way to give voice to the things that I want to say and do. So that is also my own stubborn independence, is also creating my own content. And I'm really excited about that. And in the process of writing it as a TV series, which there has been interest in. So there we are. But other than that, it'll be screening for this on October 21st through the 25th. And just looking forward to also how a New York Christmas wedding continues to travel, and all the cool conversations we get to have as a result. So thank you.
And Nia, real quick, what was the name of your short? That way we can all kind of...
Oh, fantastic. Yes. It's called 4 Seasons. Just as it sounds, 4 Seasons. And you can find that on Instagram at 4 Seasons _ the film, or just go to my page and you'll see it there. And that's fine. You go to my website, you'll see it there as well. So thank you very much. Thank you for that. You're just so used to talking about things, you forget to mention the name. So thanks.
I love the poster for 4 Seasons, by the way, and you already know that, but it's really, really beautiful. And Nia's really good at kind of putting things together. It's really, really good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I received that because I actually designed that. So thank you. Talk about independent, right? You wear all the hats. That's the other thing. Stubbornly independent. Be willing to wear all the hats. You need to get your stuff across the finish line.
Very much so. Cooper?
I'm actually a little bit more difficult to find. I am not on any social media.
The worst. It's so bad. People think Azriel's a real mythical person.
Wow, you are just a real angel.
No, but if you want to email me, or if you have any, what you can email me. It's just my name at gmail.com. Cooper Koch, COOPERKOCH. And I live in Brooklyn, New York.
Fantastic. We'll try and get you some more jobs, get that roster list of amazing.
Oh yeah, no jobs coming up at all either. So gotta get that stubborn independence going.
We know filmmakers, So, all right. Well, thank you so much for being with me today and sharing this story of how you made your film. And we just want to thank everyone for being here. And looking forward to seeing what all you do in the future.
Thank you. And I hope I will see you in person in the near future as well.
Oh man, please come to Tallgrass Film Festival when we're not virtual, and we will show you a good time.
There we go.
That
I'm
barbecue.
gonna hold you to that. I'm holding you to that. This is recorded.
I should work.
This is recorded. We'll be holding you. At least I will. I would love to be there.
Yeah, we'd love to have you guys in person next year. Keep making films and submitting them to us, and we will get to meet each other soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys.
Thank you.
Bye.